Let me ask you a question that could change your life forever. Do you work for money, or does your money work for you? Because no matter your age, 25 or 75, this truth doesn't change. If you don't take control of your money, it will take control of you. Look around. Most people wake up every morning to chase a paycheck, only to come home exhausted, still broke. And the sad part? It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they're not smart. It's because they were never taught the rules of wealth. In fact, 7 out of 10 Americans today retire with nothing but Social Security to survive on. That's not a life, that's a slow financial death. And it's completely preventable. You see, financial freedom is not reserved for the rich. It's not a lottery win. It's not luck. It's a skill. It's a strategy. It's a daily decision. That's what Jim Rohn, one of the most powerful minds in personal development, discovered when he hit rock bottom at 25. Broke, in debt, no future, no plan. But everything changed when he met his mentor. And today I'm sharing with you the exact 7 rules that turned his life around. These aren't abstract ideas from a dusty finance book. These are practical, proven principles. Principles you can apply right now, no matter your age, income, or situation. And if you commit, truly commit, these rules won't just change your bank account. They'll change your identity. They'll build a mindset of wealth. Not just financial wealth, but inner wealth, power, peace, purpose. So here's what I want you to do. Grab a notebook, shut off distractions, and lean in. This isn't entertainment, it's transformation. Because by the end of this video, you won't just know what to do with your money. You'll finally believe that you have the power to change everything. But before we dive into the rules, we need to start where all transformation begins. Not in your wallet, but in your mindset. Because wealth is never just about money. It's about the person you become along the way. Let's begin. Part 1. Shift your mindset. The battle is in the mirror. Let's get one thing straight. Money doesn't start in your bank account. It starts in your mind. You've heard people say, if I could just make more money, all my problems would disappear. No, they wouldn't. In fact, they'd probably multiply. Because money only magnifies who you already are. If you're careless, it makes you more reckless. If you're disciplined, it makes you more powerful. If you're afraid, it keeps you stuck in fear. But if you're bold, it becomes a weapon in your hands. Jim Rohn once said, you don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to the hour. Let that sink in. It's not about how much time you put in, it's about how much mindset you put behind it. Because the truth is, we've all been lied to. We were told to go to school, get a safe job, work 40 hours a week for 40 years, retire with 40% of what was never enough to begin with. That's not security. That's a financial trap. You see, Jim Rohn discovered this when he was 25, broke, working a job he hated, living in a beat-up apartment, behind on his bills. And one day his mentor asked him a question that stopped him cold. Jim, have you saved even 10 cents of every dollar you've ever earned? He hadn't. Most people haven't. And it wasn't because he didn't earn enough. It was because he never learned how to think like a wealthy person. That's where wealth starts, right here. In your decisions, in your beliefs. Let me ask you right now, and be honest with yourself. Do you believe you can be wealthy? Do you believe you deserve freedom? Or are you secretly waiting for someone else to rescue you? Because until you shift your mindset, no strategy in the world will save you. The wealth mindset versus the scarcity mindset. Here's the difference. The person stuck in scarcity says, I'll start saving when I make more. I'm too old to change. It's too late for me. But the wealth mindset says, if I can't manage a little, I'll never handle more. My best years start the moment I decide. Today is the day I plant the tree. You see, the poor mindset waits for motivation. The wealth mindset moves with discipline, even when it's hard. That's the game changer. Not more money, but more mastery. Mastery over your spending, your emotions, your excuses, your time. The greatest lie about wealth. Here's what most people will never tell you. Wealth is not about income. It's about behavior. You can earn 6 figures and still live paycheck to paycheck. You can earn minimum wage and still build a legacy. It's not about the number, it's about the pattern. And every day you are choosing. You're either building a financial future or destroying one careless dollar at a time. Every purchase, every swipe, every impulsive click, It's a vote for your future or against it. And if that makes you uncomfortable, good. That means you're waking up, because no one ever built an empire in their comfort zone. It's not too late, it's just late enough to matter. You might be watching this and thinking, but I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 60, it's too late. Let me tell you something powerful. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. You're not behind, you're right on time. You didn't miss the train. You are the train. You don't need to be 25 with a business degree. You need to be awake. You need to be decisive. You need to stop waiting and start acting. Because the longer you delay, the harder the hole gets to climb out of. But once you take control, even the smallest progress compounds. Every small discipline you build becomes a brick in your foundation. The truth about responsibility. Responsibility doesn't mean blame, it means power. When you take full responsibility for your financial situation, even if it's a mess, something amazing happens. You stop being a victim. You start becoming the hero. And heroes don't wait around for permission. They get to work. So let's make something very clear. If you're in debt, own it. If you've been reckless, face it. If you've been afraid, feel it. But don't stay there. Don't you dare stay there. Because you weren't born to live paycheck to paycheck. You weren't made to survive. You were made to build, to create, to lead. And now it's time to make that decision. Write this down. I want you to grab that notebook, right now. And I want you to write one powerful sentence. I am the master of my money. From this day forward, I decide. Say it, out loud again, because words create beliefs. And beliefs create action. And action creates wealth. Now that your mindset is locked in, now that you've stepped into the identity of someone who owns their financial future, it's time to move from belief to strategy. Because mindset is the foundation, but habits build the house. So let's roll up our sleeves and dive into the first rule that changed Jim Rohn's life and can change yours starting tonight. Get ready, let's talk about rule number 1. Learn to live on 70% of your income. Part 2. The 7 rules. Rule number 1. Live on 70% of your income. Let's get brutally honest. Most people are drowning in financial stress not because they don't enough, but because they spend like there's no tomorrow. Jim Rohn's mentor asked him a question that shook his entire mindset. Have you saved even 10 cents out of every dollar you've ever earned? And Jim had to answer what most people would. No. That was the starting point. The first lesson. If you can't manage a little, you'll never manage more. Not with $1,000 and not with $10,000, not with $1 million. Because money doesn't change your habits. It exposes them. So here's rule number 1. Learn to live on 70% of your income, not 100%. And definitely not 110%. That remaining 30%, it becomes the backbone of your financial life. 10% for self-education, books, mentors, courses that sharpen your mind. 10% for investment, capital that grows and works while you sleep. 10% for giving, because when you give, you open the channel to receive. You might be thinking, but I'm barely getting by as it is, I can't afford to save. Listen to me, if you can't live on 90%, you won't live on 900%. This is not about math. It's about self-discipline. It's about deciding that your future is more important than your impulses. Living on 70% doesn't mean deprivation. It means direction. It means every dollar has a purpose. Every cent is a soldier in your financial army. And when you build this habit, something shifts inside you. You stop living paycheck to paycheck. You stop fearing emergencies. You stop feeling like money is your master, because now you're in control. So ask yourself, what would happen if you took this rule seriously? What would your life look like a year from now if you started today? But saving isn't enough. The real power begins when your money doesn't just sit, it starts to grow. Let's talk about that. Rule number 2, save and make your money work. Let me tell you something most people never understand. Money that just sits isn't money, it's dead weight. Saving is essential, but saving alone won't build wealth. You don't want your money hiding under your mattress, afraid to move. You want it on the battlefield, earning, multiplying, growing. Jim Rohn didn't just save money, he gave it a job. He made a powerful decision. From every dollar earned, a portion was saved immediately, automatically, and with intention. Not after the bills were paid, not if anything's left. First, always first. Because that's the mindset of the wealthy. They don't save what's left over, they save off the top. Why? Because they don't trust willpower. They trust systems. Automation is freedom. Set up a system where 10% of your income moves to savings or investments the moment it hits your account. No debate. No delay. Jim once said, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And saving is that discipline in action. But here's the kicker. Money saved is just the first step. Money invested is where the magic happens. Think about it. If your money isn't working for you while you sleep, you'll be working for it until the day you die. Start small. It doesn't matter if you're investing $10 or $1,000. What matters is that you get in the game. A simple index fund, a high-yield savings account, a business idea, something. Because the goal isn't just to save for a rainy day, the goal is to build a storm-proof financial engine. And when you realize that every dollar is an employee, a soldier in your army, you stop wasting them on mindless purchases, and you start giving them purpose. So now you're saving, you're investing. You've got momentum, but there's still one thing that will either propel your money forward or kill it before it starts. It's the one thing school never taught you. Let's talk about it. Rule number 3. Study money like your life depends on it. Let's be real. You went through 12 years of school, maybe 4 more in college, and no one taught you how money really works. No one explained compound interest. No one told you that credit cards are traps in disguise. No one taught you how to budget, invest, or build wealth. And so most people walk into adult life financially blind, making just enough to survive, but never enough to escape. Jim Rohn understood that knowledge isn't just power. When it comes to money, knowledge is freedom. And you don't have to become a financial expert, but you do have to stop being a financial victim. The truth is simple. You can't master what you don't understand. So rule number 3 is this. Make financial literacy your lifestyle. Every single week, commit to learning one thing about money. What's a Roth IRA? How does compound interest work? What's the difference between good debt and bad debt? How do the wealthy legally avoid taxes? Start asking the questions that schools never dared to answer. Because here's the truth. Your income will rarely exceed your level of financial understanding. If you don't know how to handle $1,000, what makes you think you'll know how to handle $10,000 or $100,000? Jim devoured books. He studied millionaires. He listened to his mentors like a sponge. He wasn't just chasing wealth, he was becoming the person capable of holding it. And that's your job now. Every book, every podcast, every YouTube video that expands your financial intelligence is one more step out of poverty and one step closer to freedom. Because when you understand how money moves, you stop reacting and start leading. So now you've got the mindset. You're saving, you're learning. But here's the next battle. What happens to your money before you even realize it's gone? That's what rule number 4 is about. Plan your money before it disappears. Rule number 4, plan your money before it leaves you. Let me hit you with a hard truth. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will disappear. Not might, not sometimes. It will vanish, drip, drip by drip, swipe by swipe, latte by latte. And the worst part, you won't even know where it went. That's why budgeting isn't boring. It's not restrictive. It's not a punishment. It's power. It's clarity. It's leadership over your life. Jim Rohn said it best. A few simple disciplines practiced every day lead to massive success. So here's the 4th rule. You must plan your money. Before the month begins, before the paycheck arrives, before the emotions take over. And no, it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need some 12-tab spreadsheet or finance degree. Here's what Jim did. It was simple. 1. Write down what's coming in. 2. Write down what's going out. 3. Assign every dollar a purpose before it ever touches your hands. Why? Because money loves direction. Without one, it wanders off into fast food, impulse buys, and regrets. You might say, but my income isn't consistent. How can I plan? Here's the answer. Even unstable income needs a stable strategy. You set your survival number, your essentials. Then if more money comes in, don't spend it. Put it to work. Invest it. Save it. Build something with it. Because when you plan, you lead with intention, not emotion. Think about how many times you've bought something on impulse only to regret it later. That wasn't a financial decision. That was a reaction. Planning gives you distance between your emotions and your choices. It builds control, it builds peace, and control over money is control over your future. So now you're leading your money. You've stopped the leaks. You've created the plan. But here's the question. Are you just saving money, or are you building wealth? There's a difference. And rule number 5 is where that shift happens. Let's go deeper. Rule number 5. Create assets, not just savings. Let's get one thing straight. Saving money will protect you, but only assets will set you free. Most people were taught to stash money in a savings account and feel safe. But here's the brutal truth. Savings alone will never make you wealthy. Inflation eats it. Emergencies drain it. Life gets more expensive by the day. You don't just need protection, you need multiplication. Jim Rohn didn't stop at saving. He asked a bigger question. How can I make money work for me, long after I've stopped working for it? That's where assets come in. So what's an asset? It's anything that puts money in your pocket, grows over time, or continues producing value with or without your presence. It could be a small business you build, a skill that turns into consulting, a book you write that sells for years, a rental property, a stock portfolio, even your experience turned into teaching, coaching, or digital products. Don't overthink it. Start with what you already have. You might be thinking, but I'm not rich, I don't have anything to invest. Yes, you do. You have time, you have knowledge, you have experience, you have creativity. You don't need millions, you need resourcefulness. Jim started by investing in books. He turned ideas into speeches, speeches into income, income into capital, capital into assets. That's how wealth is built, not in one leap, but in small, smart steps that compound over time. Assets buy you time, assets give you options, assets protect your family, assets build legacy. And in this economy, you can't afford not to build them. So look at your life right now. What do you know? What can you create? What skill can you sharpen and turn into income, even part-time? Because the game is no longer about survival. It's about structure. It's about clarity. It's about control. And that leads us straight into rule number 6, the habit that will either empower your future or keep you guessing in the dark. Let's talk about keeping personal financial records. Rule number 6, keep personal financial records. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to answer honestly. Do you know exactly how much you spent last month? Not roughly. Not I think. Exactly. Dollar for dollar. If you don't, let me tell you something straight. You are not in control of your life. I know that sounds harsh, but Jim Rohn knew the truth. What gets measured gets improved. And if you're not tracking your money is tracking you into debt, stress, and confusion. You can't fix what you won't face. And that's what this rule is about. Keep detailed personal financial records every single month. Not for the IRS, not for your accountant, for you. Because the moment you start tracking, you wake up. Jim Rohn told a story. One day his mentor asked, "Jim, how much did you spend on food last month?" Jim answered, "I don't think it was much." His mentor smiled and said, "I think means you don't know. And if you don't know, you're not in control." That was the moment everything changed. Jim started writing everything down, first in a notebook, then on cards, and eventually in a spreadsheet. And you know what happened? Not only did his spending habits change, he changed. When you see the truth on paper, you can't lie to yourself anymore. You say personal growth matters, but your records show $0 spent on books and $300 on fast food. The numbers don't lie. They reveal your priorities. Keeping financial records is like shining a flashlight in a dark room. It may be uncomfortable at first, but once you see clearly, you stop stumbling. So here's your challenge. Start tonight. Write down every dollar that came in this month. Write down where it went. Look yourself in the mirror and own it. Now you're not just thinking like a wealth builder, you're acting like one. But there's one final rule left, one that takes your entire journey and gives it purpose far beyond money. Let's talk legacy. Rule number 7. Think in terms of legacy, not just income. Let me ask you something deeper than money. When you're gone, what will you leave behind? Not just your bank balance, not your job title, but your mindset, your example, your philosophy about money, responsibility, and life. Because here's what Jim Rohn understood. True wealth isn't just what you earn, it's what you leave. Most people focus their entire life on chasing income. They live for the next paycheck, the next bonus, the next raise. But the wealthy, the truly wise, play a different game. They build systems, they build habits, they build legacy. Legacy isn't about leaving behind millions. Legacy is about passing down wisdom that lasts for generations. Jim once told a story about a farmer. This man didn't have a mansion, he didn't have stocks or companies, but what he did have were journals. Decades of records, notes on every harvest, expenses, profits, losses, lessons. When he passed, his children didn't just inherit his land, they inherited his thinking, his process, his system, and that legacy changed their lives forever. So let me ask you, what financial example are you setting for your children? What mindset are you demonstrating to your family? Are you showing them how to build or how to survive? If your grandkids followed your financial habits, would they be free or trapped? This is the final rule. Live not just for the now, but for the next. Think not just about what you get, but about who you become. Because when you choose responsibility over excuses, discipline over emotion, wisdom over reaction, you don't just change your life, you change the future. And that, my friend, is what real wealth looks like. So now you have them. 7 timeless rules. 7 steps that took Jim Rohn from broke and hopeless to wealthy, wise, and unstoppable. But before we finish, there's one more step. Because knowledge alone changes nothing. It's time to apply, to reflect, to decide. Let's build your personal action plan, starting right now. Part 3. Your personal action plan. You've made it this far. That means something. It means you're not just curious, you're ready. Ready to change, ready to grow, ready to lead your financial life with intention. Let's recap for a moment. You've just walked through 7 powerful rules, each one a brick in your foundation for lasting wealth. You learned to live on 70% because discipline creates freedom. You committed to saving and investing, so your money works even when you don't. You promised to study money because what you know determines what you grow. You learned to plan your money before it slips away because chaos has no place in a wealthy life. You discovered that true wealth is built through assets, not just savings. You began tracking your finances, seeing your truth in black and white. And most importantly, you shifted your focus from income to legacy. Now here's the final step. Turn these rules into action. Today, not next week, not next year. Today, because knowledge without action is just potential. But knowledge with action, that's power. So here's your challenge. A simple but transformational assignment. 1. Grab a notebook or open a blank note on your phone. 2. Score yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 for each rule. How well are you living on 70%? Are you saving consistently? Do you study money weekly? Are your monthly finances planned in advance? Do you own or are you building any assets? Are you tracking your spending? Are you setting a legacy? 3. Now look at your scores. Circle the lowest number. That's your weak spot, but it's also your greatest opportunity. 4. Write down 3 small, specific actions you'll take this week to improve that area. If it's tracking expenses, write them down nightly. If it's investing, start with $10 and research a fund. If it's mindset, commit to reading 10 minutes a day. Small steps, big shift, because you don't need perfection, you need momentum. Final transition. This isn't about becoming a millionaire overnight. This is about becoming the kind of person who builds wealth on purpose. And that's exactly who you're becoming. Let's finish strong. Conclusion. You are the architect of your financial future. Let me leave you with this truth. You don't need a perfect past to build a powerful future. You just need a decision and the courage to stick with it. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you've been behind on bills, lived paycheck to paycheck, or felt the weight of financial stress pressing down like a storm cloud. But listen to me now. That story ends today. Because you're not powerless, you're not broken. You're not too old or too late or too far gone. You are the architect of your future. Your thoughts are the blueprint. Your habits are the bricks. Your actions, they are the tools. And every single day, you have the chance to lay down a new brick, a stronger foundation, a better future. So don't just remember these 7 rules. Live them. Choose discipline over comfort. Choose vision over fear. Choose legacy over laziness. And choose to lead your life, not just react to it. Because in the end, wealth isn't just what you have, it's who you become. Be the one who breaks the cycle. Be the one who teaches your kids how to handle money with wisdom. Be the one who turns savings into systems and systems into freedom. Be the one who leaves more than money. you leave a mindset. That's what Jim Rohn did. And now it's your turn. If even one idea today lit a fire in you, act on it. Don't just think about it. Don't just feel inspired. Move. Drop a comment. Which of the 7 rules hit you the hardest? Share your action step. You never know who you'll inspire. Subscribe, because we're not just talking about wealth. We're building a life of meaning, discipline, and purpose. The world is changing, but the fundamentals, they're eternal. Discipline, wisdom, courage, and now you have all 3. Go build the life you were born to lead, and I'll see you in the next video.